Welcome to your daily dose of Sunday School, episode 103. This is Ask Anything Wednesday, and I am answering the question, how are we transferred to the status of Son of the Father through Christ? Let's start in John 20:17. This is after the resurrection. Here's what Jesus says to Mary Magdalene. Do not cling to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father, but go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. Jesus, in adoption, Jesus makes us brothers, and then he says to us that his relationship with the Father is our relationship with the Father, so that he can say, my Father and your Father, my God and your God. Jesus, the Father, we are not simply sons of God because we're his creatures, but we actually share in this eternal relationship that the Son has always had with the Father. That's the radical nature of adoption. My God and your God, my Father and your Father. Which is what he prayed for in John 17. He's talking to the Father, the glory that you have given me, I have given to them, that they may be one even as we are one. So this unity that exists in the Trinity, he wants to be reflected in his people. But it's just not only that, but a unity between his people and God, I and them and you and me, that they may become perfectly one, so the world may know that you sent me and loved them even as you loved me. So that radical love that the Father has eternally had with his Son is shared with us. And then again in verse 26, I made known to them your name, and I will continue to make it known, that the love with which you have loved me may be in them, and I in them. Now, Romans 8 is going to answer how this is possible. But first, I want to turn to the end of Romans 8, Romans 8:29. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, in order that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. So, we are supposed to be made after Christ. We are supposed to become like Christ. Conform to the image of his Son. The goal is that there would be more sons. And so we are sharing, again, in the relationship of the Father with the Son. Well, here's the big question, because it's a crazy idea. That any of that could be possible is just scandalous. But how can it be possible? Here's the question to ask. Who could make us share in the relationship of the Father and the Son? Who could do that? Well, then you need to ask, who has been the heart of that relationship forever? Whomever that is, then he's going to do that for us. And Romans 8 answers that question. Romans 8:14, for all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. So it's the Spirit's work. It's the Spirit that shares that love and unity with us between the Father and the Son. Verse 15, for you did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit acts in our lives as he has acted between the Son and the Father. Remember that the Spirit is a person. He's not a force. So you can be like, well, the Spirit of God came upon Saul, so is he adopted? No, he was not adopted, because the Spirit did not act in his life in the way he acts between the Father and the Son. So the Spirit creates unity in the church. We see this all through the New Testament, That's because he is the person of the Trinity who loves creating unity. It's not like there's, any artificial unity between the Father and the Son. They're not different like between people. We have so many disagreements. But he is the one who creates unity. He's the one that acts in our lives in the way that he has acted between the Father and the Son, so that we share the relationship of the Son with the Father. Which is shocking for a creature to be able to relate to the Father modeled after the way the Son relates to his Father. That's shocking. For you did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit creates an emotional bond of the Son in our lives. So Jesus instinctively cried out to God in distress, Abba, Father, and the Spirit makes us do the same. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God, and if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified with him. So he bears witness. So as we instinctively cry out to the Father, the Spirit is testifying to us that we are children, giving us that confidence. That's why it's important to go through suffering, so that the Spirit can create that realization in our hearts. And if children, then heirs. We are made. We're not adopted if we don't receive the inheritance. And so the Father or the Son, because of his work, living and dying, resurrecting, he receives the cosmos, and we receive the cosmos too, which is crazy. This is nuts. We'll be glorified with him. So our glory in the resurrection will be shared with him. Now, we're not adopted fully until there is no distance between us and the Father and the Son. So we see Romans 8:23, and not only the creation, but we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit grown inwardly as we wait eagerly for adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. So this part of the passage is talking about how the creation waits for us to be revealed in glory, to be made after the pattern of Christ. We're still creatures. He's still God, but he is the God-man, and God patterns us after his glory, his resurrection glory. And it says that that's our adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. So what we want is there to be no separation. When we are fully adopted, we are given a body like Christ. The world is transformed. Heaven and earth are one. And now at that point, there is no distance between us and the Father and the Son. And that's all done through the Spirit.